Hey, so this weekend Panzershreck is going on in New Zealand. And I got a hold of the lists. Panzershreck is a friendly tournament that they are organizing there, and it's been going for 3 years. It started before Corona, and by now they are in their third year, and it's grown from a small local tournament to having 14 players, which is going into like decent tournament size. So let's go and see what they're doing in New Zealand, shall we? I've, of course, made a PowerPoint with all the meta stuff from New Zealand. This is actually kind of interesting because for me, this is the first time I've actually had some hard data from New Zealand, which is great. So I can sort of see what's happening there. It is a friendly tournament that's going on over 2 days. I'm not actually sure how many games they're going to play. I think they're going to play 5, but I'm not. The organizer didn't say. So it's a fun, casual event, but still a tournament. One of those that are really difficult because what is fun for people? But as long as those 14 players all agree, then that is what a fun tournament is for them anyway at that point. It's 900 points, 14 organized cap, which is interesting, right? Because that means that true horde lists are not going to be possible. And at 900 points, you're also like you're a little anemic on points. All the things that you want in your list, you're not going to be able to buy at all. And it's going to be single theater platoon mid-war, so late 42 and 43. So that also limits people quite a lot. Now, there is one thing that I want to say about this event. The event itself looks amazing. The missions, though, I am not necessarily a fan of those. But I have to remember it is a fun event. So I think the missions have been chosen for fun. The reason why I say I'm not a fan is because at a tournament, these missions are not really suited. They're playing Hold Until Relieved, which has a single objective, attacker defender. They're playing Crossroads, which has a single objective in the middle of the board. They're playing Kitty Hawk Down, which has a single objective that is going to land at a random point on the board. They're playing Envelopment, not double envelopment, Envelopment, where there's a defender and an attacker, and where kill points do matter, but it's positioning on the board. They're playing Manhunt, where you have a single objective of killing the enemy officer in close combat. And it's only the defending officer. It's not both officers, it's the defending officer that needs to be killed in close combat. And then there's Bite and Hold, which is a variant of Timely Objectives, which has 3 objectives in the center. So the only mission here that I think is actually tournament suited is Timely Objective, Bite and Hold. The rest of them are not really suited for tournament play. You'll get quite a lot of draws. And there are certain of them where, well, more or less you win on the first roll. If you have the right list to play Envelopment, then you win on the first roll. So and Manhunt as well. If you have the right list, you might not even have a lieutenant that can die in close combat. You might have a vehicle, right? Because theater platoons. So the missions I'm not a huge fan of, but they look fun. Kitty Hawk Down is massively fun because you don't know where the objective is going to land, and when it does land, it will cause you damage. So they're fun, and Manhunt with the confused fighting is always, confused fighting is just amazingly fun because everything is chaos and units are coming in from all sides. As a tournament, it's going to be too much chaos for my taste, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, what nations are being taken? There are 4 German lists, which I guess is expected. It's what we see in most national metas, that the German lists are still a main part of many tournaments. They are not, however, a main part of the top of tournaments. We see that repeated throughout most of the world, that Germany are not really winning tournaments here at the end of version 2 at all, and haven't been for some time. Then there are 3 Soviets, 3 British, 2 Italian, and 2 Japanese lists. So there is a spread, but we don't see a spread into minor nations here. It's the major 5, that's it. But at least we're seeing all major 5. Like the Italians are back, baby, with Case Blue. So that's nice. I think one of the things when you're running theater platoons only, minor nations are going to be difficult to have. So that, I think, is one of the reasons why we're not seeing minor nations here. Order dice. This one was a weird one, because you have a 14 order dice cap. And for me, at 900 points, you should be between 12, 13, maybe 14. Because at 1,000 points, I would say the standard meta for international tournaments, also for British and Danish tournaments, is that you're between 13 and 15 at 1,000 points. So you should be a little lower at 900 points, but not massively so. Here, they are at 11.1 on average, so they are low on order dice. This might be because it's a friendly tournament, or it might be because of how the meta in New Zealand is. The order dice is between 8 and 14. 8 is way, way low. It's not good. The players who are bringing 8 order dice are going to find that they struggle with the initiative in their games, simply because the enemy is almost double as likely to get their order dice. So they are moving most of the game, whereas you're going to sit there waiting for your turn. The Germans here are the lists that are lowest. They are on average 9.7 between 8 and 12 order dice. 9.7 is too low. So Germany is already struggling, and this is one of the ways in which we can see that they're struggling. They are simply too anemic on order dice. They're too low. They're too low. Here at the end of version 2, that's just one of the things that we've said again and again and again, and this has borne out all through version 2. German armies are just low on order dice, and being below 10 on average is just not good. Compare this to the Soviets, which are between 12 and 14 with a 12.6 average. They are much higher, and they are in the range band where I would expect them to do well. So this is the reason why we're seeing Soviets win much more often, and being the top 10 much more often than we see Germans do so. And I think that this will bear out in this tournament in New Zealand as well. We shall see. Army builds. We have a lot of gear, which is typical for friendly tournaments or for metas which are not really competitive. So like, people are buying LMGs, people are buying SMGs, people are buying assault rifles. Gear for everyone, right? Not really competitively viable, but it's always fun to have all that stuff. 3 Death Stars. One of the lists even have double Death Stars with 2 Panzer IVs, which is insane. And 3 skirmish mixed bag platoons. This is way lower than I had expected. I don't know why. That they're not like building skirmish infantry, building mixed bag lists. I don't know, but they look different to what I am expecting to see. There is 2 assault lists, both of them Italian. Again, that was a little bit of a surprise to me. And 1 barbecue list. And then I want to do a shout out to one of the German lists, which is, we're going to watch it in a minute. MSU combined with multi-rocket launchers combined with a Tiger. Does that not sound awesome? I mean, I don't think it's very good, but at least it has thought about how to make that Tiger viable, right? So we're going to have to go and see that one. Yeah, so the army builds are a little bit skewed towards fun play, I guess, and less so towards competitive. The main takeaways for me, if there are any we can do from this one tournament of 14 players, is that the German armies are weak. They have been weak for quite a while. They are still weak. The German armies that I'm seeing here range from that's almost actually bad till it's more thematic than anything else to you might do okay. So between 1 and 3, there are none of them that I would say are strong competitive lists in this case. Whereas some of the other lists that we're going to watch in a minute are very strong and could do well in international metas as well. So the German armies are weak. Potentially the German players are just more thematic players, more casual players, less competitive players. Italy is all assaults though after Case Blue. The 2 Italian players here clearly read Case Blue and salivated and was like, oh yes baby, I'm going to charge stuff, because that's what they're doing in 2 different ways. One of them is an all cavalry unit with the double charging cab, a little light on order dice at 9 order dice. That's going to struggle. But the other list we're actually going to have a look at, which is, of course, the M battalions. There are very few Stuarts in this meta, which I guess is very fair since the darker Stuarts are, of course, early war. I think there's one list that has a darker Stuart, which is the Soviet one. You goddamn cheesemonger, because the Soviets had them. And there are no Gurkhas at all, and there are no hordes at all. So that, again, says something about thematic play, I guess. My predictions, though, is that some of the lists are going to do massively better than other of the lists, because some of them are really good. So, for instance, I think that Al is going to win. I think his 14 order dice Soviets, he has all the dice. He has the Stalingrad selector with greatest hits, so like all the things that are good in the Soviet list. I think that list is a 4. I think it could be done better if you really try, but it's a very, very strong competitive list. I think Brad's Italians at 12 order dice might also do well, depending on how well Brad is at the assault game. He's got 12 order dice, as I said. It's M battalion. He's got double flamers, so one of them is the Guastatori and one of them is a flamethrower team. And he's got no tank, which is my main worry. But he does have an armored car that's a darker armored car. So, and that's a 4 as well for me. John ends. Brits are at 13 order dice, and he's building a tank platoon. Now, we know tank platoons are massively more successful in single platoon format. I think he's just going to do well. It is a weird one because it's British and it has Stuarts, but it's not the darker Stuarts. So that might in itself not be that great. Having 3 light tanks which aren't really good at anti-infantry operations. I'm not sure that works, but it is tanks, and his enemies are going to struggle bearing enough anti-tank weapons to kill that. Then we have Heath's Japanese 14 order dice, veterans with HE. Doesn't that sound nice? Veteran fanatics that has HE support. That is just a good combo, and I think he could do well. Again, it depends on how much he's going to skirmish, how much he's going to assault, how else all that play going to go. But I think it's actually possible to do well with veteran Japanese. And the final list I want to call out in my predictions for top 5 is Aiden's Brits, 11 order dice, low, but he has a lot of skirmishes and he has a good skirmish special rule, the rifle rapid fire special rule, and he has a Death Star. He has a heavy, medium to heavy tank. I think that potentially for me is it's somewhere between a strong competitive list and an average competitive list. But I think if he's a good skirmish player, he could do well with that list as well. So those are my predictions for the top 5. Before I end the video here, I want to take you and see some of these lists. So I'm going to start you with Hayden, because Hayden was the list that I called out before as being, wow, MSU plus a Tiger. Isn't that awesome? And this is it. 12 order dice. He is lacking 2 points, which sucks. Regular second lieutenant. And then HG Panzers, unprepared. That is the one where you start off as regular but can become veteran or inexperienced. And 6-man squads here, motorized infantry, so they have to have some sort of transport. These are perfectly fine. I would love it if they had access to Panzerfausts though. But yeah. So you can see this. He's building 5-man units. One of them is a 6-man unit. Very cheap, 45 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And then a medium machine gun, inexperienced. That's a 7th infantry unit. So that's what he's doing. He's buying all the small infantry here. He's got the lieutenant. He's got 6 infantry units, all of them small. He's got small team, medium machine gun. You could have bought the light machine gun, I think, done better. But medium mortar team, and then, because he can, double inexperienced Nebelwerfers. Boom! Look at that. That is going to be what kills the enemy here. Having double Nebelwerfers. So while the enemy is trying to focus on the Tiger, which is going to absolutely kill any tank it looks at, the Nebelwerfers are going to try and create damage. Now, motorized infantry, normally that has to has... No, that I remember incorrectly, sorry. They re-roll fail order test to dismount. Now, his infantry is really, really weak, because he's spending almost 400 points on his Tiger, right? That is insane. That is really, really not good. But that Tiger in this meta is going to be almost invulnerable and is going to kill any tank. And the Nebelwerfers might actually do enough damage to the enemy to pay back the points. So this is one of the few places I've seen where I'm still not sold on the Death Star here, but the support here might actually work. He is going to try and hide all his infantry. That's the only way he can survive. And with all those single objective missions, that Tiger is just going to be able to drive up to the objective and sit on it and just shoot everything else. So it's actually not bad. It's actually not bad. Right. I also wanted to show you Brad's Italians. This is one of the... there's been quite a few requests at how do I see competitive Italians being built. This is more or less it. I'm not going to do a video on how to build competitive Italians. 1, version 2 is running out rapidly. We are in the end month. And 2, because they're not on Easy Army, it's really difficult to show. So I'm going to just show you here what it is that a competitive Italian army looks like. 12 order dice, inexperienced officer with submachine gun, of course. Black shirt battalion, 9 men. Always get these 9 or 7 men. I think 9 is better. So 1, 2, 3 of those. These are going to be your assaulters. They've got tough fighter and they've got and he buys anti-tank grenades. You don't need that, but okay. That makes them dangerous to the Tigers, though. They've got Tough Fighter and Fanatics. So that's the combo, right? That's the dream. Guastatories, because you can, flamethrower and 6 other dudes, so 7-man unit. These need some sort of transport, and they're regulars. Medium mortar team, that's a regular one. It's got a spotter. Flamethrower team, that's the second flamethrower, so 2 flamethrowers, 3 assault units. Good combo. He's got tools for all the jobs. Solithan anti-tank rifle, because, I mean, you get the reroll. That's good. Elefantino light AT gun. I'm not a massive fan of this because it's just an AT1 that's it's not really good. I would much rather take some sort of howitzer here. An auto blinder, which is the darker tank that I was talking, not tank, darker armored car here. So it's got a hull-mounted, rear-facing machine gun. It's got a turret-mounted, pintle-mounted machine gun, and it's got 2 medium machine guns here. So it's got 20 shots. It's a lot of machine guns. And a truck for the Guastatories, and that is it. Oh, and a Fiat here for the flamethrower team. So double transport with flamers. That is how you build a competitive Italian army right now. I'm not sold on the Elefantino, but that's the only thing that I'm not sold on. The rest of it, all good. All good. And of course the anti-tank grenades become a little bit better because, again, you get that special rule for the Italians. The final one I wanted to show you was Al's Soviets. This is Stalingrad, 14 order dice, 900 points. He spent every single point. Junior lieutenant, inexperienced. Naval squads, these guys are tough fighters. They're nice infantry sections here. 7-man units, good skirmish size for those. Veterans, they're very survivable. He's got assault engineers with some machine guns here. Also very, very deadly, very good at clearing out areas. The free rifle squad, of course. He's got a ROX 2. That is the single shot flamethrower, I think. Maybe. Let's just check it. ROX. No, it's hidden, so you can't target it. Right. We have to kill the whole team. Then he's got a dog mine, 2 men, inexperienced, just the way it should be bought. A regular anti-tank rifle team, because he has to. Heavy mortar team, inexperienced. I think I would have gone with a medium mortar with a spotter instead, maybe. Medium howitzer. That also needs a spotter for me. And a BA-20 and a darker steward, trucks and jeep. Right. This is very, very standard mixed bag Soviet platoon, and it's really good because it takes everything that's really good in the Soviet lists, right? It's got the veterans, it's got the free squad, it's got the engineers, flamethrower, the dog mine, BA-20 and Stuart light tank. All of it is really good. I think Al is going to do well. So, that was it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in version 3. Cheers.